Tonight's feature. Tonight's feature is anxious and nervous. He is not nearly as capable as he appears. His mouth is dry and he hasn't any gum. Tonight's feature's right shoe is tied too tightly. His hands are clammy and he doesn't know where to put them. Tonight's feature wonders why he agreed to do this. He wishes rather that it was snowing big-flaked and heavy and he was outside playing in it. Tonight's feature is broken in many places and has a pain in his chest that can't be swallowed, but he feels alive when he describes it, and so will go on. Tonight's feature has been published in some places and not in many others. He has read aloud many times to family and friends, to himself alone, and he has read to strangers in strange places. He believes he can do this. Tonight's feature writes and writes and hopes to write again. Tonight's feature feels it gives his life meaning. He feels putting meaning into one's life is the first step to survival. Tonight's feature is practicing the impossible art of survival. Tonight's feature awoke today like any other, but knows it is not like any other. For tonight he will cut something loose and clean, break open a rib and count splinters, shave something close to the bone, place it on the table, and predict the past with uncanny accuracy. And he hopes to howl, and he will stammer, stutter, and shout. He will not shut up, he will not be quiet, he will not stop until I make him. Thread. Here, take it. Consider it. Run it through your fingers. Taste its color. Smell how smooth. If you finally wish, thread it through your single eye and hand me back the end. This back and forth will weave a world. We could do this. This mystic stitch, this slender line that runs from me to you. I live along its length. So you're sitting and you're staring, and something just smacks you in your head, and you turn around and it smacks you on your other head, and you're not hurt, but something's running out your ear and running down your neck, and it kind of tickles, but not funny tickles, so you're not laughing, but you're not crying either. In fact, you're not doing anything either way, but you don't care, because a woman. And all the people you've never met seem to know you because they keep phoning, and though they never say anything, you know that they don't know you because they always mispronounce your name, and when they tell you that there's no annual fee, you know that they're lying. It'll still take a lifetime to pay, and besides, what are you going to do with all this aluminum siding anyway, living in an apartment with no windows and only walls, only inside walls? So you tell them that you've died, and hence you won't be needing siding. But if they leave their number, you call them back if you snap out of it, but they won't and you don't. And besides, you know, aluminum siding is quite different than a silver lining. And instead, you've got clouds. Clouds that are so heavy, they aren't lined with aluminum or silver or anything except probably lead. So it makes sense that they're so heavy and that your arms are so tired and your back is so tired and your head is so tired just from carrying them around all the time. But right now, you just don't care because a woman on the subway. And your feet hurt because they do, or maybe because your shoes don't fit anymore, at least the way you've been wearing them, so you swear tomorrow you'll try them on your other feet, and yet you know you won't. Who cares about shoes anyway? Because it's pants that count, and you should know because you're wearing them, at least in this family, and in that family, and in fact in every family that you've ever known, because that's what you've always remembered wearing, and always remembered other people not wearing. And besides, you know, like you've never known anything else, that every family has to have someone who wears the pants, and you're just it. And yet you wonder if you'll ever get the chance to take them off and just run naked and almost without worry. And you remember once you almost did? You almost jumped into a river, or was it a lake? Or maybe it was the ocean. But then you remember you just don't know because you just didn't jump. So you don't know. But you decide then and there you don't care. Because a woman on the subway moving towards you. And then it's dark and you've never seen it this black before and you can't even see your own fingers. You jam it in your nose to see if you can feel even when it is so endless black and you think you feel, but you can't be sure because you don't really know, really. You just think you know. And you just get back by with that anyway and you just let it go at that. In fact, you let everything go, including all the things you've ever dreamed of and all the things you ever wanted, and clutch instead the few things you've got, like your nose and your finger. And sometimes once, maybe, just maybe, the sight and smell and touch of possibility of a woman on the subway moving towards you, now moving away. The boy finds the small things. The boy finds the small things and puts them in the right place. Here he places a pear, here a ripe rose. In his shoe he finds a pebble. He returns it to the wood. He retrieves the discarded penny. From the date he knows its nature. Pennies before 82 are wholly copper, after sandwiched tin. He feels in his small way he is helping. The boy finds the paper clip curious. Should it be placed alone, or is it meant to hold a place for something else? A photo, an old note, a few words. In his room, he removes everything from his bag. One by one, his bag is emptied. He is ready to see the world. He hears that in town there is a lost and found. He will go. Returning, his bag again full, he clears an area. He pauses over every object, considers and pauses again. These things take time, like climbing carefully or falling far without fear. The single mitten, the only sock. I have broken hearts through the careless use of lilac and hammer, pounded salt like nails into the thinnest wounds and split the wood. I have twisted the root back upon itself to knot and choke, left the splinters of fine things in my fingers to pus and swell, breathe the dust of the dowel cut and rabbit run. I have let the sawtooth rust in the rain, buried flower beds in yards of mud, and for many seasons seen only the crack of grass between the rock. I have built crooked stairs that climb to empty places, hung doors where windows go, and placed clear glass in entry paths. I have cut the stem before the bloom and scent. I have ripped the headboard ragged. Still, I have both hands and all my fingers, and I can still feel the raised grain of moistened wood, and smell the wild queen's lace, and see the tulips glow. And now I have made this plain and simple flower box of clean straight edge, rich in soil, and well drained with stone. The plot is ready for seed, sun, and water. Heels. My hard black heels healed nothing. I plunged ahead like timber falling. I could not stop myself, seeing salad days, risking our toes to sheep's meadow green. We laughed wide open, fat mouths and tongues ripe, for spices from the Orient or Chinatown, mustard seed, pig's feet, and upside-down ducks, blank eyes dreaming out, us looking up. And I would go back there in the uniform of the contrite, but before I kissed you again goodbye forever, I'd shine those shoes. It's Saturday night, and the moon has her high beams on. And up on the mountain it's rutting season, and all the young dudes have their boots on high. But I have no howl left, and I can no longer see in that kind of light. And the night is so close it's hot in your nose, and everyone stops to contemplate their next move. But it's the moon's move, and with her one wide eye, she presses hard on everyone's pedal. For a moment, I feel alive again. Stop me if you know this one. The stranger often puts his arms around you, but always from behind. The stranger smiles like he's known you forever. The stranger says he has a war wound, but he won't say what. The stranger doesn't eat fish, but he won't say why. The stranger sometimes looks at you as if he sees straight through. The stranger is always alone, except when he's alone with you. The stranger seems to be deaf in his left ear, but denies it when you ask him. The stranger says he's from a town you've never heard of. It sounds like Eastern Europe, but then you think perhaps Ohio. The stranger always has a cigarette, but you have never seen him smoke. The stranger routinely asks to stay the night, rarely seems to sleep, and is never there when you awake. The stranger never calls when you're at home, but has left you exactly one message every week you've known him. For now you think the stranger makes you happy, like no one else ever has. There are now words all over my refrigerator, and on the floor all around. Words are hiding in the grass and falling with the rain. I am finding words tangled with the hair in my hairbrush and streaming down from the sun. I now have words for everything. Words like inchoate and gloaming, salubrious, peritonitis, loquacious, beryllium, modal, aloof, lope, I am, smear, quill, and garnish. Words are hiding in the toes of my shoes and under my car seat. I am finding words everywhere. Words are coming out of my ears, leaking out of my belly. There are words all over my fucking dictionary. Sleeping, like breathing, is a relief. To forget and remember over and over. When we kiss, I remember the sound of water pour over stone and forget how simply glass can slice to bone. Come to me like feather down and spill on me like fingers. Place one hand on my belly and your other wherever you wish, and I will show you laughter so silent my mouth drifts open. Okay, I've told you. Now, let's remember sleep and forget to breathe. Find a field where the green drips beautiful like yellow. Watch lazy clouds swallow the day's impossible blue. Shift the weight of sleep and give a little more room to move even closer.